out for Arizona.
Yeah. Oh, okay. No, you got the A's hat. You got a motorcycle helmet.
I got the A's hat. What's that?
It's supposed to be a motorcycle helmet.
Oh, okay, alright.
So, I tried.
Gail's got a cake?
You did a great job.
That's Jake. He's got a baseball bat.
Here, I'll hold it. Those are yours. I'll hold it yours.
That's Bill. That's Larry. That's great. That's Larry.
Hey Jake, did you find yourself in the picture?
That's Bill. You just got me out. That's Jake. Yes, abacus. He doesn't know how to use it. Mommy made the cake. Daddy has the A's hat on. And a motorcycle helmet.
Yeah.
No, this is Gail. And that's Callie.
Do you know what? Or you can ask them
This right here is Luca.
That's me.
That's Jake. Tommy.
That's
Very successful. And that's Paula's mommy and daddy.
Big hug. I'm taller than you. No, you're not.
You're not.
She is.
I think she is, little man.
Hey, look at Greenie. Look at Greenie. Wait a second, one more. Come here, look at Greenie.
I rode my bike to town today, wobbling down the path. Knew the kids would see me. I love it when they laugh. And I wish I were a camera. I could slice time like a knife, seeing stories in the faces and crystallizing life. I wish I were it all the time. Gives my eyes a reason. It gives my life a rhyme. I'd be a lens that could see souls, a shutter that never shuts. I'd have film that lasts forever. I would live in jungles of South America, like my father before the war. I'd find out where we came from and what this life is for. And I wish I were a camera. I wish it all the time. Gives my eyes a reason. Gives my life a rhyme. Wish I were a camera. I wish it all the time. Gives my eyes a reason. It gives my life a rhyme. And I would climb right off this planet on the clearest night of all. Photograph the
uncertain. Life is unknown. Life is a shot in the dark. Life is a curtain, always unfolding. Life is an ember and a spark. Don't be a fool. Stay around for a long time. Try and find a dream. Time avoids no one. Time is unkind. Time is a cut to the bone. Time to take care of. Time to unwind. Time is a gift, not a loan. Don't be a fool. Stay around for a long time. Try and find a dream. People are endless. People are strangers. People are taken to be friends. People are nervous, always in danger. People are bound to make amends. Don't be a fool. Stay around for a long time. Try and find a
Well, the sun is surely sinking down, but the moon is slowly rising. So this old world must still be spinning around, and I still love you. So close your eyes. You can close your eyes, it's alright. I don't know no love songs, and I can't sing the blues anymore, but I can sing this song, and you can sing this song when I'm gone. It won't be long before another day. We gonna have a good time, and no one's gonna take that time away. You can stay as long as you like. So close your eyes. You can close your eyes, it's alright. I don't know no love songs, and I can't sing the blues anymore, but I can sing this song. And you can sing this song when I'm gone.
She can take it. We'd like to welcome all our families here tonight, and it's a pleasure to have all of you with us up in this beautiful part of the world here. Now, before we get you up and eating, I want to tell you, you got some great entertainment coming your way tonight. The Spirit of the Bar T5 Band. These boys, they like you to participate. Sing along, clap along, smile once in a while. They see you're not doing this, you could end up on stage as part of the entertainment. So even if you're not having a good time, I'd at least look like it, all right? We'll tell you how to get it in just a minute.
I think it's fine building jumbo planes or taking a ride on a cosmic train. Switch on summer from a slot machine. Just get what you want to if you want, as you can get anything. I know we've come a long way, we're changing day to day, but tell me, where do the children play? Well, you roll on roads over fresh green grass for your lorry loads from pumping petrol gas, and you make them long, and you make them tough, but they just go on, and it seems that you can't get off. Oh, I know we've come a long way, we're changing day to day, but tell me, where do the children play?
You have a white Pathy?
Yeah.
No, listen, I called today. I was trying to get a key to our room. So I dialed the phone. I'm like, hey, Dad, can you leave a key to the room outside by the stroller? And he's like, you know something? I'm not your dad.
Sucking up now.
Yeah, he sure is. See his thunderbolt right there?
Gardening tomorrow night.
Tell you what, you send it to me and I'll make it.
That's good. We're not supposed to do that in Berkeley, but some of us do it anyway.
John, enjoy the show.
That was great.
A blonde, wanting to earn some money, decided to hire herself out as a handyman type and started canvassing a wealthy neighborhood. She went to the front door of the first house and asked the owner if he had any jobs for her to do. Well, you can paint my porch. How much will you charge? The blonde said, how about 50 bucks? The man agreed and told her the paint and ladders that she might need were in the garage. The man's wife inside the house heard the conversation and said to her husband, does she realize that the porch goes all the way around the house? The man replied, she should. She was standing on the porch. A short time later, the blonde came to the door to collect her money. You're finished already? He said. Yes, the blonde answered. And I had paint left over, so I gave it 2 coats. Impressed, the man reached into his pocket for the $50. And by the way, the blonde added, that's not a porch, it's a Ferrari.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
There you go. And Maisie just
On the airplane?
all over Elizabeth, Gail, all over the seats. And the beauty of the whole thing was these kids had been flying all day. We were 3 hours in O'Hare and with no air conditioning, sitting on the tarmac. So they've been really patient. And Elizabeth Maisie started to get grouchy, and the guy in front of Gail says, "That was my kid. I'd throw her out the window." 15 minutes later, she blows all over the back of his chair, and I'm like, "That serves you right for being such a jerk." No.
I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I never knew. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful
pretty funny story about my dad that hopefully will break through the ice. When I was junior and senior in high school, we went for rides, the guys, and we called it Going Cruising. And it was kind of picked up that name from a song. And the purpose was not to get someplace. The purpose was just to go on a ride, driving way faster than you should, but not fast enough to get in any real trouble on a beautiful road. And if it was somewhat rural, that was a bonus. So we drove the Bear Canyon Road frequently, which started in Orinda and ended up in Martinez and is now buried under Briones Reservoir. And we sometimes 2 cars, sometimes 1 car, sometimes 3. And so we're cruising down Bear Canyon Road, probably 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And Phil Dow, one of my friends, hit a skunk. And he was the last car. And those guys, since we all met at my house and there were cars left at my house, they thought it would be great fun to take the skunk back to my house and leave it someplace for my enjoyment. So we parted somewhere along the night, and they had the skunk tucked behind the bumper guard on the back bumper of Phil's car.
Oh.
Actually, it wasn't Phil's car, somebody else's car. And I didn't come home. I went someplace else for the remainder of the night, and they brought the skunk back to my house. And I don't remember what they did with it, but my dad discovered it very quickly. And since Phil Dowd's station wagon was parked in front, he made an assumption that Phil Dowd was responsible. So he popped the hood of Phil Dowd's parents' station wagon, a Chevy wagon, and he dropped the skunk in between the front grill and the front of the radiator, down through that little crack, and he put the hood back down. So sometime later, yet in the evening, Phil gets dropped off at his car, which is parked in front of our house, and he takes the car home, and his family lived in a split-level house in Piedmont. So the living room's off to the left, and then the garage is a half a flight down, and the parents' master bedroom is above the garage. And he pulls into the garage, and he probably got in late. He's probably a little bit blitzed, so he's trying to be very sneaky. He parks the car, and he goes upstairs, and he goes to bed. And at 4 in the morning, his parents wake him up and say, we want to know where this car has been, and we want to know why we can't sleep in our bedroom. And from 4 until 7 in the morning, they searched that garage for that stuff. And at 7 in the morning, they finally put it all together. And then Monday morning, Phil comes to school, and he's very accusatory. And I'm totally clean. I know nothing, and I'm denying. Hey, Phil, I tell you, I didn't do it. And I don't think I knew for 2 or 3 weeks that my dad was at the bottom of the hole.
Did his folks ever find out it was your dad?
I don't know. I don't know if Phil ever told him. But my dad was not without a sense of humor, but sometimes you didn't see it right away. So I can tell as many stories about my dad as you would like to hear, but I don't want to take more than my turn.
I think we willingly give you the floor. Everybody else has a composure right now.
Rini knows of what was known as juvie. And juvie was the city of Oakland's juvenile hall, and it was 18th and Poplar Streets in Oakland, which is now a pretty tough part of town. And as most of you know, I lost my driver's license when I was a senior in high school. And if you can imagine, with the resources we have these days, I had to go to juvie with my father to get my driver's license back. Now they don't have the resources to worry about anything as mundane as losing a driver's license today. But we went down there for a hearing with a hearing officer to determine if I should get my license back after my 90 days or whatever it was. And the hearing officer asked my father, when they were sitting there together, asked my father how much he made, what his annual compensation was. And if you ever in your life wanted to see a grown man squirm, my dad was so uncomfortable divulging his success to some third party in the presence of his son, who he had spent his entire life trying to downplay his success and trying to make sure that I didn't have a clue that we were very comfortable. which I thought was pretty humorous at the time, and I was very interested in his answer. He divulged that he made 10 grand a year, and that would have been in 1959. And with 20/20 hindsight and a few years of experience, I think that he probably have what he actually made. But 10 grand a year to that probation officer seemed like a boatload of money. And if my dad really made 20 grand a year, that seemed like 2 boatloads of money. Which fits nicely into the car that my dad bought when I was a junior in high school. He drove a company car, and he believed passionately that because the guard industry was a low-pay industry, that he needed to maintain a low profile. And that worked nicely for him because it all fit into, not spoiling his son. And so he brought home one day a sort of a half Army, half forest green, 4-door, 6-cylinder manual transmission Chevrolet. And so that was probably about a 1955 or 56. No, it was, I don't know. Anyway, it was the ugliest car that a teenager had ever seen. And all of my friends and I uniformly agreed that it was absolutely the most unattractive, unappealing, unsexy car that any grown man could ever hope to drive. And we nicknamed it the Green Latrine. And I mean, you know how kids are at that age. I didn't want to be seen in that car. I didn't want my dad taking me anywhere in that car because I didn't want any of my friends to see me in that car. Until I got my license, of course, and then the difference between a standard transmission and an automatic transmission became more important than what the car looked like. So I would occasionally borrow that car solely because it was a standard transmission car, and it didn't have any power and it couldn't get you in any trouble and whatnot, but at least it was a stick. And I was out in the Green Latrine one night with a group of friends, of which Bob Schliemann, sitting in the right rear seat, was one of the group, and we had all had a little something to drink. Schliemann more than the rest of us, and Schliemann felt the urge to get sick. So they got the window down okay, but Schliemann didn't quite make it. And in those days, of course, you just pulled into a gas station and there was water and there was everything you needed at a gas station. So we ended up washing the outside of the car and cleaning the inside of the car, and I went home, and my parents didn't have a clue that I drank anything, right? But you have to become a parent to understand how much your parents really did know. The next day, my dad goes to get in his car to go to work, and it absolutely reeks. And here, I've thought that we just did a masterful job, and there was no way in the world we were going to get caught. And it turns out that in the process of trying to get Schliemann's head out the door, out the window, which he didn't quite make, some part of it went down inside where the window rolls down. And we hadn't thought about that. So these things kind of tie together. But the Green Latrine was part of my dad's conservative image making.
I have a small story regarding my dad and money. It was probably, I guess I was 7 or 8, so probably 1959. around there, 1958. And I thought we were rich. We lived in a big house, at least 1,200 square feet, and 1.5 bathrooms and 2-car garage. And I thought, my dad came home one day and he brought his entire paycheck home in $1 bills. And I don't know what my father made. He was an engineer, got paid twice a month, so he probably made $12,000, $16,000 a year. I don't know. He brought his whole paycheck home, and we had the big dining room table, and he put all the money on the dining room table. And we all stood around, and it was a mountain of money. And this was the lesson. All right, Minnie, how much do you need for the house payment? Mama reached in and counted off the ones. All right, Minnie, what do you need for the car? What are groceries? Now, what do you think you need for the kids for their clothes? The pile got smaller and smaller and smaller. By the end of his lesson, there were a few dollars left on the table, and he said, now each of you may take $1. And we did. I mean, they get free money. But it was just, I've never, ever forgotten that lesson. It was so visual to just see where it truly all went.
I think this story speaks to Tom's character. When we were little, Tom wouldn't lie. He just wouldn't lie. And we were all seasoned expert when it came to lying, but Tom would tell little teeny white lies, but they were seldom so little. There was so little fabrication that they were inconsequential, and in our book, rookie stuff. I mean, bush league lying. And Jeff and I used to call him Old Honest Abe. And we used to tease him about being so honest. And one day, Tom had although he would never admit it, but he had the ability to walk into any neighbor's house without knocking, walk straight to the refrigerator, and inspect what kinds of snacks were available for him to eat. And then, without asking permission, just help himself to it. And on one such occasion, he was down at the Ripmans, and we all who grew up on the street knew that the Ripmans had squat for snack food. They ate, they made everything from scratch. So snack food for them was like pieces of jicama, and they just had no snack food. But the one thing that the Ripmans always had was Dreyer's ice cream. And Mr. Ripman was quite the gourmet chef, so he made everything from scratch, but also respected good ice cream. So one day, Tom's over at the Ripmans, and he leaves the house with their, you remember they were cylindrical half-gallons? With their half-gallon of ice cream, with the spoon, probably the Ripman spoon, eating it up, between, we lived nearly across the street from one another, so he's eating it somewhere between the two houses. And when he finishes, the ice cream container ends up wherever he finished. In this case, it was like in the front yard, laying like just there with the lid somewhere within 6 feet, I'm sure. And
the spoon in it.
Yeah. So we were all playing, Jeff, Tom, and I, and Bill, who was our stepfather, comes home and pulls his car up the driveway. Sure enough, there it is, staring like it's glowing in the dark, is this ice cream container empty, sitting, as if somebody had thrown it on the side of the road in, West Oakland or something. And he knows who did it, because it's dead obvious that while Tom wouldn't tell a lie, he was also the biggest slob of the whole group. And so Bill knows, before he even asks the question, who's laid this thing there. And he looks over at Tom and he says, Tom, did you forget to put this inside? Is this yours? And Tom says, in an attempt to prove to his brother and his buddy that he can lie, no, that's not mine. Of all the times to lie, this was the most inopportune time, because it's just so obvious that the guy's lying, because it's got his name written all over it that it's him. And as they say, criminals frequently leave a lot of traces because they're not good at their crime. And so anyway, Tom's patting himself on the back for pulling off the big lie, and he goes on to do his thing, and Bill looks over at Jeff and I and he says, is this Tom? arms. And we went. So sure enough, he's nailed. And, you know, Bill gets into it with him and they address it. And Tom was pissed, needless to say, for us ratting him out. But, you know, I would probably argue, I mean, we had a hell of a lot of fun things that we did in high school, and most of it we certainly didn't want to communicate to our parents. But, you know, I would be surprised if Tom told another lie from that point all the way through high school. The guy just doesn't lie, so it's certainly, you know, his one attempt that I'm aware of was pretty pathetic.